The birthday balloons bobbed like mocking spectators, their bright colors clashing with Hoa Karen's venomous sneer. She stood, arms crossed, her oversized leopard print blouse straining as she bellowed into her phone. Yes, 911. They're disturbing the peace. It was little Timmy's 7th birthday, a sunny Saturday in a quiet suburban cul-de-sac where kids usually rode bikes and neighbors waved. The Nguyen family had set up a modest party in their backyard, a blue bounce house, a table with a dinosaur-themed cake, and a Bluetooth speaker playing Happy Birthday on loop. The laughter of 6 kids filled the air, their squeals blending with the hum of summer. Across the street, Hoa Karen, the neighborhood's self-appointed watchdog, had been stewing all morning. Her lawn was pristine, her mailbox polished, but her patience for those noisy people was non-existent. To her, the Nguyen's joy was a personal affront, a violation of her imagined dominion over the block. Hoa, a woman whose girth matched her ego, had a reputation. She'd once reported a dog for barking at 6 a.m., demanded a neighbor repaint their fence for being too yellow, and berated a delivery driver for parking an inch over her driveway line. Her neighbors tolerated her, mostly out of pity, but today, she'd crossed a line even they couldn't ignore. As Timmy blew out his candles, Hoa stormed across the street, her flip-flops slapping the pavement, her voice slicing through the celebration like a knife. "Turn that racket off," she shrieked, jabbing a manicured finger at the speaker. "This is a respectable neighborhood, not a zoo." Mrs. Nguyen, Timmy's mother, stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Hoa, it's a birthday party. It's barely 4 p.m. Please, let the kids have fun." The other parents, a small group of 3, nodded in agreement, their faces a mix of annoyance and disbelief. Timmy, clutching a plastic dinosaur, looked up, confused, his frosting-smeared smile fading. Hoa scoffed, her chins wobbling. "Fun? You're ruining my peace. I'm calling the cops." The parents exchanged glances, half expecting her to back down. She didn't. Within minutes, a patrol car rolled up, its lights casting an eerie glow over the festive balloons. Officer Daniels, a seasoned cop with a no-nonsense demeanor, stepped out. He scanned the scene. Kids frozen mid-bounce, parents murmuring, and Hoa triumphant, waving her phone like a trophy. "Officer, thank God you're here," she began, her voice dripping with false urgency. "These people are causing a disturbance. Loud music, screaming kids, it's unbearable." Daniels raised an eyebrow, glancing at the speaker, now silent, and the small, orderly gathering. "Ma'am, I need specifics. What's the issue?" Hoa launched into a tirade, embellishing every detail. The music was blaring like a nightclub, the kids were running wild, and the Nguyen's were disrespecting the entire neighborhood. She puffed out her chest, confident her complaint would shut the party down. The parents watched, their frustration simmering. Mr. Nguyen, a soft-spoken engineer, tried to explain. "Officer, it's our son's birthday. We're just having a small party." The music wasn't even that loud. Daniels jotted notes, his face unreadable. He asked Hoa for her ID, then turned to the Nguyen's. "Anyone else hear this disturbance?" he asked, loud enough for neighbors peeking from windows to hear. Silence. No one backed Hoa's story. A woman across the street, Mrs. Carter, who'd been watering her roses, shook her head. "It's a kid's party, for heaven's sake," she muttered. The officer's gaze returned to Hoa, who was now fidgeting, her confidence cracking. "Ma'am," Daniels said, his tone flat, "you called 911 for a noise complaint on a Saturday afternoon. I'm not hearing anything excessive. You're aware false reporting is a misdemeanor, right?" Hoa's face flushed, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "False. I'm protecting this neighborhood," she sputtered. The parents stifled laughs, but Timmy, still holding his dinosaur, looked scared. Mrs. Nguyen knelt beside him, whispering, "It's okay, sweetie. She's just being silly." Silly wasn't the word. Hoa's lies were unraveling, and the officer wasn't buying her act. He asked her to repeat her story, and she doubled down, claiming the Nguyen's were harassing her by throwing the party. Daniels, unimpressed, checked his tablet, pulling up Hoa's call history. "This is your 3rd 911 call this month," he said, his voice carrying a warning. 2-4 suspicious joggers, now this. You're tying up emergency lines." The crowd grew tense. The parents' anger was palpable, but they stayed quiet, letting the officer handle it. HOA, sensing the shift, tried to pivot. Well, they didn't invite me. That's rude, isn't it? Her attempt at charm fell flat. Daniel sighed, pulling out his cuffs. Ma'am, you're under arrest for filing a false police report. The words hit like a thunderclap. Hoa's eyes widened, her bravado collapsing. Arrest? Me? For protecting my rights. As Daniels cuffed her, the parents stood stunned, their anger giving way to a strange mix of vindication and pity. Timmy, now clinging to his mom, whispered, Is she in trouble? Mrs. Nguyen nodded, her voice gentle. She made a bad choice, honey. But we're okay. The officer led HOA to the patrol car, her protests growing fainter. This is outrageous. I know my rights, she yelled, but no one was listening. The neighbors, now gathered on their lawns, shook their heads. Mrs. Carter muttered, About time. The party resumed, but the mood was different. The kids bounced again, but the parents' laughter was tinged with relief. They'd all known Hoa's type. Someone who thrived on control, who saw others' joy as a threat. Her arrest wasn't just a consequence, it was a lesson. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the bounce house, Mr. Nguyen raised a glass of lemonade. To Timmy, he said, and to neighbors who don't call 911 over cake. The adults chuckled, clinking their glasses, while Timmy, oblivious, chased a balloon. HOA, meanwhile, sat in the back of the patrol car, her indignation fading into something else, regret, maybe, or the dawning realization that her actions had consequences. She'd wanted control, but all she'd earned was a rap sheet and the neighborhood's scorn. The officer's radio crackled as he drove her to the station, the birthday party shrinking in the rearview mirror. The Nguyen's didn't press charges, they didn't need to. Hoa's humiliation was punishment enough. Word spread fast, and by Monday, the cul-de-sac was buzzing with the story of how HOA Karen called 911 on a kid's birthday and got booked in front of everyone. Some neighbors felt sorry for her, but most agreed she'd brought it on herself. As for Timmy, he'd always remember his 7th birthday, not for the cake or the bounce house, but for the day his family stood up to a bully and won. The chalkboard sign, left on the grass, bore the truth in messy, colorful letters. Hoa's downfall was her own doing. And in that small victory, the neighborhood found a quiet strength, a reminder that kindness and truth could outshine even the loudest complainer. The end. /Z artifact.